The Answer Man. Would you like to know what animals grow smaller as they grow up? Or, where is the tallest chimney in the world? Would you like to know the answers to many other interesting questions? The Answer Man will tell you, and here he is to answer your questions, the Answer Man.
Hello, everyone. And now if you'll read the first question.
Let's begin with this one from a Cleveland, Ohio man. Does the average Eskimo have much of a vocabulary?
Yes, he does. The average Eskimo has an active, everyday vocabulary of at least 10,000 words, which is much larger than the active vocabulary of an average businessman who speaks English.
Next, a Vesta, Virginia listener asks, can a high-speed camera really take pictures of sound waves?
Yes, the Zorum high-speed camera can take nearly 100 million exposures per second, and that's certainly fast enough to photograph sound waves.
This question comes from a Washburn, Maine woman. Would a good stiff 8 or 10 block walk get rid of the extra calories that are in eating a heavy, extra rich meal?
No. In order to walk off the extra calories from a heavy and extra rich meal, you'd have to walk at least 25 miles.
And a note from a Hartford, Connecticut listener reads, is it a fact that an owl can see things close to it and far away with equal clarity at the same time?
Yes, most animals' eyes, including man's, have what is called a fovea, a shallow depression in the retina that enables the eye to concentrate its attention on an object. But the owl has two fovea. These allow the bird to look at two things at once, something nearby and at the same time something in the distance. The owl is both nearsighted and farsighted at the same time.
Next, an Elma, Washington student asks, are there any creatures on Earth that are bigger when they're young than they are after they grow up?
Yes, there are. The tadpole of a South American frog is one such creature. It grows to be more than 10 inches long in the tadpole stage, and then it shrinks into an adult frog, only 2.5 inches long.
A listener writes from Elmira, New York, to inquire, what is Thomas Huxley's modern variation on the old maxim about climbing up the ladder of success?
Thomas Huxley said, the rung of a ladder was never meant to rest upon, but only to hold a man's foot long enough to enable him to put the other somewhat higher.
Before the next question, here's a special message.
And one with good news for all of you who take vitamins. For it's a way you can get the best government standard vitamins at half price, or even less.
Yes, just let us send you a free Hudson catalog, and then compare the prices. Now, the average cost of 100 25,000-unit vitamin A capsules is $4.10. But you can get the same government standard vitamins from Hudson for only $1. That's right, you save $3.10. A high-potency formula that generally sells for $9.45 per 100 is only $3.50 at Hudson. That's a saving of $5.95. Yes, Hudson means it when they say you can save 50% and more at Hudson. So start saving today. Write for your free catalog of Hudson vitamins and food supplements. Just put your name and address on a postcard and send it to The Answer Man, Mutual Broadcasting System, New York 18.
There's no obligation to buy anything. No salesman will call on you or telephone. But compare the prices, and you'll see why for 25 years, doctors, nurses, and thousands of others have bought their vitamins from Hudson.
So get your free catalog. Just send your name and address to The Answer Man, Mutual Broadcasting System, New York 18. Next, a Cedar Rapids, Iowa man asks, where are the starfish's sense organs located?
In its feet.
And an Enterprise, Mississippi listener inquires, what is the tallest chimney in the world?
The chimney of the American Smelting and Refining Company plant at Selby, California, which towers to a height of 605 feet, 9 inches above the ground.
An Oak Valley, Kansas man would like to know who made the first watch.
Credit for making the first watch generally goes to Peter Henlein of Nuremberg, Germany. In the year 1500, Henlein produced a small timepiece that was shaped like an egg. It was so successful that before long he was making them as fast as he could, with orders pouring in from wealthy folk everywhere. To own one of Henlein's living eggs, as they were called, became quite the fashion.
A listener living in Camden, New Jersey inquires, what monkey can scream the loudest?
The Siamang gibbon. The Siamang has what can best be described as a pouch in its throat, which it can swell up like a toy balloon. This pouch gives the Siamang gibbon an air supply, and enables it to scream with such resonance and persistence, it's quite a pest, even in the jungle.
The next, a woman writes from Idaho Falls, Idaho, to ask, did the cost of living go up much during the Civil War?
Yes, even more than during World War II. The cost of living went up 64% from the start of World War II up to 1945, but in the Civil War, it went up 71%. However, even that's not the record. During the First World War, the cost of living went up 99%.
This question comes from a young man of Aaronsburg, Pennsylvania. Do all people in this country have a first name?
No, not all. Although when the census taker comes around, he or she tries to put down some sort of first name for the census records. There's the story of a mother who hadn't taken the time to figure out names for any of her 4 children. But she told the census taker he could list them as lap baby, floor baby, porch baby, and yard baby. And then there's the woman census taker who found an old lady who kept repeating, ain't got no name but Pansy. Finally, the census taker said, but hasn't anyone ever called you by another name? Well, the old lady replied, when my man was alive, he used to call me Ansy Pansy.
Before the next question, a reminder to get your free Hudson Vitamin Catalog today. A free catalog that shows you how you can save 50% and more on vitamins and food supplements.
The quality of Hudson vitamins is standardized by U.S. government regulations. There are none better. Just check them with your doctor. And all Hudson products are sold with a money-back guarantee.
So get your free Hudson catalog. Just put your name and address on a postcard and send it to the Answer Man, Mutual Broadcasting System, New York 18. That's name and address on a postcard to the Answer Man, Mutual Broadcasting System, New York 18. Next, an O'Keene, Oklahoma listener asks, do chipmunks ever eat meat?
Sometimes, yes. A few months ago, I saw a chipmunk tackle a garter snake 5 or 6 times its own size. The chipmunk killed the garter snake, and then it ate it.
And an Adrian, Minnesota boy inquires, aren't some atomic radiations much stronger than others?
Oh, yes, they are. Or as one atomic scientist put it, some atomic radiations aren't strong enough to fight their way out of a paper bag. Many atomic rays require several great slabs of lead or concrete to stop them. But beta rays, for example, can be stopped by a sheet of cellophane.
A listener living in Reno, Nevada asks, don't the sons of most famous men turn out to be playboys?
No, the University of Minnesota made a study and found that the sons of about 2/3 of America's outstanding men have achieved success in their own right, but usually not in the field in which their fathers succeeded.
This question comes from a Bisbee, Arizona listener. Who was the first man to say, leave no stone unturned?
Probably the ancient Greek poet Euripides, who used the phrase in a play he wrote more than 400 years before Christ.
And a note from an Elliott, Maryland man reads, hasn't the village blacksmith just about disappeared from the American scene?
No, although there are not as many as there once were, the village smithy is still needed, especially in farming areas. However, many of them have taken to the road. They have trucks or converted buses in which they haul all their horseshoes, hammer, anvil, blower, nails, and so forth. And they drive from farm to farm or from stable to stable throughout the farm areas of the United States, shoeing horses as they go.
A Tyrone, Colorado woman asks, what kind of stick is the gold stick in waiting that's used by British royalty?
The gold stick in waiting is not a stick. It's a man. He's an officer of the British royal household who waits in close attendance upon the king. He gets his name from his emblem of office, an ebony stick with a gold head, engraved with the sovereign's cipher and crown. There's also a silver stick in waiting, who's a kind of assistant officer that stands near the gold stick in waiting, waiting to relieve him.
Before the next question, a special message. You know, security is a wonderful thing to have, peace of mind and personal contentment, a feeling of knowing that you and your family can keep on enjoying the way of life we know today and can look forward to an even brighter tomorrow. And there's a sure way you can have that security and peace of mind in the years ahead by saving regularly through United States savings bonds. When you buy bonds regularly, you're making a date for a brighter tomorrow by putting your savings to work for your family's future. Series E savings bonds pay interest at the rate of 3.25%, compounded semi-annually when held at maturity. That means in less than 9 years, you'll be getting back $4 for every 3 that you invest. And what's more, that money's working for you and your family in another way, too. It's helping to ensure our nation's peace power. So start planning for a bright and a better tomorrow, a more secure future. Start investing in United States savings bonds. This message is brought to you as a public service.
Next, a Twin Bridges, California listener inquires, how much plaster was used in making the Empire State Building in New York City?
10,000 tons.
And a Hillsdale, Illinois woman asks, what state was named for the honeybee?
The state of Utah, which was originally called Deseret by the Mormons. The name Deseret comes from the Book of Mormon, and there it means honeybee.
Here's a Raymond City, West Virginia listener who writes, why do bears swing their heads from side to side when they walk?
Because they have no collarbones to keep their shoulders apart. So when a bear moves his forelegs, his shoulder blades swing back and forth. And this, in turn, makes his head swing from side to side.
Next, a man writes from Preston, Missouri. Has it ever been released to the general public what those 8 Nazi saboteurs who got into America back in 1942 were supposed to sabotage?
Yes. When they were smuggled ashore in the month of June 1942, the 8 Nazi saboteurs had with them $174,588 in American currency, enough explosives to last them for about 2 years, and orders to dynamite the Hellgate Bridge in New York, destroy critically needed aluminum plants, place time bombs in lockers of railroad stations, start fires in large department stores, spread terror in general, and make it appear as though a whole army of saboteurs were at work.
Next day, Midland, Indiana man asks, did the United States get Florida from Spain by purchase or by force?
We purchased Florida from Spain in the year 1819, with a certain amount of force in the bargain. Spain had swapped Florida for Cuba in exchange with England in 1763, then got it back 20 years later in a swap for the Bahama Islands. But at that time, Florida was the refuge of runaway slaves, dangerous adventurers, and robbers, and so was a considerable menace to our southern border. Several disputes had broken out, a few minor battles taken place, when finally, in 1819, Andrew Jackson moved his army into Spanish territory, and thus persuaded Spain to come to terms and sell us Florida for $5 million.
Before the next question, a special message. You know, the human body is an amazing machine. A man can live on only half a lung. A man can get along without a stomach. Most people coast through life at far less than top speed. Only in emergencies do we able-bodied draw on our full reserve power. But handicapped persons do it all the time. Beethoven wrote some of his greatest music while totally deaf. Milton dictated his greatest poetry while blind. Other examples are closer to home, and each day, in an almost endless variety of jobs, thousands of physically handicapped workers are proving they are more than the equal of their fellow employees in safety and in production. No guesswork about this. Nationwide surveys report better production records, better safety among handicapped workers. So employers, now's the time for a fresh look at your hiring policies. Hire the handicapped. It's good business for you and for America, too. This message is brought to you as a public service.
Next, a note from a Scranton, Pennsylvania listener reads, do you know a poem that starts, Wouldst make thy life go fair and square? I think it's by the famous German poet-philosopher Goethe.
Yes, it is, and the verse reads as follows. Wouldst make thy life go fair and square? Then for the past feel not a care. Whate'er thy loss, thou must not mourn, but ever act as if new-born. Above all, hate no human being. The future leave to the all-seeing. What each day asks, make these thy tasks. With pride thine own performance view. With heart, admire what others do.
In this next program, the answer man will answer such questions as, which signer of the Declaration of Independence went to jail?
This is Mutual, the world's largest network.